Hi everybody, welcome to J&S Farms, and today I'm continuing my So You Want to Homestead series, and this is video number 6, and I thought I would kind of take you along my journey and tell you how I got to where I am now and things like that. So as most of you know, I've mentioned it in other videos, but I grew up living the homestead lifestyle. My parents, their grandparents, great-grandparents, everything on down the line were farmers. So it's kind of in my blood, and I really enjoy it, and I just wouldn't live any other way. My parents were mainly beef cattle farmers. That was their main cash crop, but we had the chickens and the rabbits and the garden, and we never did have pigs or sheep or anything like that. My dad just didn't like them, so we didn't have them. My grandpa, he was a tobacco farmer, and he had 200 head of sheep. He had cattle. He had everything. He had guineas, and he raised pheasant and quail, and he just had everything going. And a lot of my summers when I was a kid, from when I was little till I was 16 years old, when the government bought my grandpa out of the tobacco business, and every summer was spent in the tobacco fields. So the whole lifestyle has been ingrained since I was little, and I was lucky enough to have my grandparents and my parents answer all my questions, and I was one of those kids that I was up in the middle of everything, wanting to know how it worked and why we did it this way. And luckily they were patient enough and they let me figure things out on my own. To a certain extent, and I was kind of lucky that way, that I was allowed to take things on at my own pace, and nothing was ever forced upon me. But I did ask a lot of questions, and I wanted to know everything, really. I was kind of one of those nosy little kids that was up in the middle of everything. And that's how I learned canning and cooking and everything. My grandmother was a big influence on my life. One of my earliest memories was out in the green bean patch, picking green beans with her. We'd take them in, snap them, can them up that day. So it's one of those things that's kind of in my blood. In 2004, I graduated high school, and then I went to college, and it wasn't my thing. College was not, to me, it wasn't for me. That's all I can say, really. I did not enjoy it. The only good thing, let's see, it was around this time of year, my dorm mates pretty much dragged me to a Halloween party, and that is where I met my husband. We met October 30th, and we were married December 30th, so it was one of those love at first sight things, and we've been going strong. It'll be 11 years this year, so it's one of those, people thought we were crazy, but it's worked out really well. So, and then at the time, he was a Marine. He had been a Marine for 4 years, and he had just re-enlisted, so he moved me out to California. We lived on Camp Pendleton, the base there in California, and I was pretty much a fish out of water. I did not like it. Those 4 years seemed to drag on forever. But I did take the opportunity to really dive into researching and gaining all the information that I could. Anything farm related, I read. I read studies, I read different techniques, weeded out the things that sounded good to me, things that were like, meh. I took that time and I made it into a positive thing. While I was out there, I was a dog groomer. I went to the trade school out there and learned to be a dog groomer. And that's what I did. If I wasn't grooming, I was researching and chasing my little kids. So after those 4 years, we moved back. And it just so happened at that time, the homestead that my grandfather's parents lived on, it's been in that side of the family for over 150 years. And it's got the original building there. It's just been added on to. It was originally a 2-room little house, and it was added on to over the years. It just so happened that that house was vacant, and we moved into it. And to my grandfather's knowledge, my children were the 7th generation to live in that house. So it was kind of cool to know that. It's something that kind of gives you a neat, homey feeling. We lived there for almost 3 years. It was pretty darn close to 3 years. And then we decided it was time for us to move on and find a homestead of our own. So in 2012, we purchased the homestead we are now, that we live at now. And it was a long process. We had been searching for quite a while. I don't remember how long. And this place really kind of fit the bill, and we purchased it, and we've been here ever since. So that's kind of the time lapse of the Cliff Notes version of how we kind of got started. So, and I wanted to kind of touch on in that 4 years we lived in California. I set my goals while I was there, and when we actually did move back, the 3 years we stayed at the old homestead, I got my chickens and I got my rabbits, and I still had my cows from when I was younger, and we moved them over there. And then I got my dairy cow, and everything that I got while we were there was portable. I didn't make anything permanent because I knew we weren't staying there. So I made everything portable. I experimented with everything, all of my ideas and things for the garden and the animals. I found out what I did and I didn't like. And it really helped to kind of know what worked and what didn't before we found this place. So, and I wanted to quickly take you through some of the goals, my goals that I set. Now, these are just kind of the general ones. I'm not going to get into the whole list because I have it pretty itemized. Y'all don't need to know that. It gets pretty boring. Okay. Pretty much the main thing I wanted to do was practice sustainable agriculture. That was my main goal, was to be a sustainable farmer. Now, that basically means you don't take from the land, you try to give back as well. You don't destroy habitat unless you put another habitat in. One example is in the back pasture. Yeah, we cut down all the briar patch and everything like that. Well, the wild rabbits, that's their home. So what we did was we took a lot of trees and piled them up and made big brush piles back there. So we replaced that with brush piles in certain spots. And that actually kind of made it better for them because they didn't have to stray too far from a safe place. Safe from a hawk or a fox or something. So anyway, I wanted to put permaculture in. My goal was to be as self-sufficient as possible, not having to depend on anybody. That was kind of both of our goals, not having to depend on anybody. We wanted to make sure we raised all of our animals and our garden in the most natural way we possibly could, which meant no chemical fertilizers, nothing along those lines. No Seven dust, I guess. Although squash bugs are, I hate squash bugs. Hate squash bugs. Anyway, and then my ultimate goal is to have all heritage livestock. Now, I don't think I'll ever get rid of my Hereford cattle. I'm pretty partial to them. That's the breed I prefer. And all the cows I have are really nice cows. So, other than the Herefords, I really want to get into mainly heritage livestock. I would like to have some red wattle hogs. That's kind of the breed I'm leaning toward, or some large blacks. Maybe a mixture of the two. I don't know. And different things like that. So, and then I also decided that I'm going to raise all heirloom vegetables. I've done my research on those, and that's just what I decided that I wanted to raise and grow and things like that. So those were some of my goals that I set for myself. I have not achieved them 100%. I will eventually, but it's a process, and sometimes it's slower than I would like, but it is a process. We are still amending our soil to the way we want it. We're still adding things to our soil. Our soil is got a lot of clay in it, so we have to add quite a bit to it in order for it to be really productive enough to not to have to add the chemical fertilizers to it to actually get a crop. So, and then we're learning all the time, learning something. So, anyway, that's kind of my journey, the Cliff Notes version. But anyway, I hope this was helpful for you guys. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. And I will see you in the next video. You guys have a good day. Take care.